Hi YouTube. This video is a step-by-step guide on changing out the rear shock absorbers on a Generation 4 Mitsubishi Pajero. It includes NS, NT, NW and NX models, pretty much any Pajero after 2006. My car does a fair bit of towing and always seems to have cargo in the back. And one of the giveaway signs that the shock absorbers were at the end of their life is when I go over speed bumps, particularly the ones that ramp up and ramp down, the smooth type speed bumps. If the rear of your car develops a bounce after the speed bump, so if you're cruising through at a slow speed and then once you've gone over the speed bump, the back end tends to bounce rather than bounce once and then settle, then that would to me was the giveaway sign that the shock absorbers were gone, and so I'm changing them out. Start by jacking up the rear of the car on the side that you want to work on first. Probably the most important thing about this, the job doesn't take very long, but you really need to set up the jack stands and everything well so that the car doesn't lose its balance or move underneath the jack and have the car come down on you. You know, so many people have accidents and get injured or worse through jack accidents. So yep, jack the car up, make sure you've got a couple of jack stands, safety, even just turn the tyre, take the tyre off and turn it sideways and put it under the car. Anything like that might save you if something should unfortunately go wrong. Once you've got the car jacked up and on stands, so all the safety's in place, you'll need to remove the wheel, and then you will need a second jack, whether it's a small bottle jack or the one that comes with the car, and place that underneath the frame of the side that you're working on. Or it's not really going to hold a lot of pressure in terms of lifting anything. It's just to stabilize that side and stop it from flexing down too far. So just pump that jack up to like maybe an inch past where the hub is sitting normally, and then that will be enough pressure for you to start working on the cars, just to take the weight off the bolts and everything that we have to remove for the shock. Just start by removing the bottom bolt of the shock absorber. So it will be a 19mm, I think it was from memory. You can use a rattle gun if you want, if you've got one available, but that the nut should be on the rear side of the car, and then you just push the bolt out. One thing to keep in mind is that, like, the first thing I think about when I think about suspension is stored energy. You don't really have to worry about the shock absorber like flexing open or anything like that. It's not under a lot of pressure, and particularly where the shock absorbers are already worn, it's not going to have stored energy, so you don't have to worry about that. You can just remove the bottom bolt, and that's the first step. Next, just going to use a small open-ended spanner to undo the nut on the top of the shock absorber. It will just be a single nut, and you should be able to do it quite easily just by holding the top section of the shocky and then just undoing it with this spanner. Once we've undone the nut for the top of the shock absorber, if you grab the body of the shock absorber and just pull down, it will help the shock absorber compress. And then once you've got it down far enough, you'll be able to pull it out sideways and then lift up, which will remove the entire shock absorber from where it was sitting in between the frame and the body. Just make sure that you remove any rubbers and washers that may be sitting there, like still on the car, because we're going to be installing new rubbers and washers. One thing you might be worrying about doing this whole process is the stored energy side of things. But the Pajero, the really cool thing is when you install the, like, say, new springs and shocks, you don't use a spring compressor like you do on, say, a Patrol or a Pajero, say a Land Cruiser and that sort of thing. The springs are merely sitting in their position, and they're only lightly compressed. So long as we put that jack underneath and just jacked up a little bit, that spring's not going to shift, and it's not under a great deal of pressure. Neither are the shock absorbers. So that allows us to remove the shock absorber without any sort of risk. we can just undo the bolts and pull it out, and any pressure that's stored in the shock itself is pretty much just, we're just going to compress it slightly just to get the shock out of its position. But that's just worth mentioning. So I'm putting some EFS Elite shocks into this one as a replacement, and it's pretty simple. We're going to put the bottom of the shock into place, slide the bolt back through. I'm using the old bolt, and then just loosely for now put the nut onto that bolt for the bottom section. And then with the top, once again, just grab the main shaft of the shock and compress it down, and you'll hear the oil inside sort of passing or compressing, and there'll be slight pressure for it to try and spring back out to full extension. That's why they're compressed using a strap in the box. But if you just push down and get the shock into place, just remember you need to put one washer and then one rubber onto the top of that that bolt that's sticking out at the top of the shocky, and then compress it, push it into the housing there on the frame, and then let it go. It will slowly open itself back up and push itself through the hole. And then we just need to put the rubber on top, and then another washer, and then the nut that holds it all together. The slightly tricky part of tightening the top section of the shocky, the top nut, is that when you go to tighten it, eventually the shaft will start to spin. So with the EFS, for example, one thing I do is just spray a little bit of CRC on the actual top section of the shocky on the thread, and also spray some CRC onto your nylock, onto the nut. And then that way, when you start threading it on, it'll go down far enough for you to get either a small shifter or a small open-ended spanner onto the top section of the shocky, so that you can hold that in place while you do the nut up. This basically needs to happen because otherwise the shaft will spin as you're turning it, and then the nut won't tighten. So yeah, just lube up the thread and the nut, wind it on as far as you can go with a spanner, and that should expose some of the top of the thread, the bit that you're supposed to grab onto with a spanner. And you can hold that with I think it's a 5mm or a 6mm spanner, and then yeah, you can finish tightening up the top of the nut. Then we really just need to tighten up the bottom section again. We only put the bolt through and lightly put the nut in place. So once I like to jack the bottom jack, the bottle jack there, the red one, up a little bit more, and then lock down the top section. You don't want to over tighten the nut either. You only want those rubbers and washers slightly compressed. If you keep tightening it, the rubber will just flatten out, and then it's going to wear prematurely. So you only need to, just as a guide for the EFS on this, there's about 15mm exposed above the washer. Above the nut. So once I've tightened the nut down, there's about 15mm of thread sticking out past the nut, but that's just a rough guide. And then yeah, so pretty much going to tighten the bottom bolts up. For me, it's just easily done with a rattle gun. So just make sure the other side, you'll have to hold it with an open-ended spanner, get your rattle gun onto the nut side, and then just send it. So that's what the shock looks like, all in place. Pretty much just going to put the wheel back on, gently lower down the jack, both the jacks, the one under the frame and the one under the body of the car. And then just want to double check how tight the nuts are that you've done up. So just go over them again once the car's settled, or once the car's... you can do this after taking it for a short drive, and then come back and just check the torque on those two. But the one to really watch is the bottom bolt. So you need that one to be very tight. So it's good to take it for a drive, let it settle, come back, and then re-torque it afterwards. The other side of the car is exactly the same. There's no difference between the left and right side. And also, I should have mentioned, with the shock absorbers, you order them as a pair. There's no difference between left and right either. They're the same part number. Doesn't matter which way around. Yeah, you just want to go for a drive, do 15-20 Ks, hopefully somewhere where the shocks get a little bit of a workout, and then come back and then retorque the top of the shock and the bolt nut going through the bottom of the shock, and that's about it. Yeah, a good when you pull your old shock out, if you compress it just by hand, pull the left and right sides of the shock together, and it doesn't, and after you let it go, it doesn't try and move back to full extension, full length, that's a good sign that your shock's stuffed. It should always have some positive pressure that's moving it out towards full extension, which sort of might confirm whether or not, if you weren't sure your shocks were gone, that's a good way of telling. Anyway, that was the little weekend project. I thought I'd post it up and hopefully it helps someone out there. Anyway, thanks for watching and please subscribe.